Have you ever wondered what truly hides behind the perfect photos and the seemingly enviable lives we see scrolling through our social media feeds every single day? We live in an era where an image can be polished to a mirror shine, reflecting a level of success that makes the rest of us feel small. But today, we're going to peel back that shiny digital mask. We are going to uncover a story that exposes the cruel hidden reality of abandonment disguised as achievement. It is a story where the flashy ostentation of the children stands in brutal, heartbreaking contrast to the simplicity and profound loneliness of their mother. It raises a haunting question. What is the true price of this so-called perfect life, and who, in the end, is actually paying the bill? If you've ever felt like the world is losing its grip on what really matters, stay with me, because the way this mother settled the account is something no one saw coming. This story begins in a setting that has become tragically common in our modern world. It's a world of high-definition highlights. If you looked at the social media profiles of Eleanor's children, you would see the very definition of the American dream. Her eldest son, a high-powered executive, constantly posted photos from the decks of private yachts and the balconies of five-star resorts in Dubai. Her daughter, a lifestyle influencer, lived in a sprawling glass mansion, showcasing a life of designer labels, organic galas, and expensive cars. To their thousands of followers, they were the ultimate success story, the golden children of a new generation who had figured it out. It was a flawless facade of prosperity and happiness, the kind of image people work their entire lives to project. It was the dream, or at least the version of the dream we've been told to chase. But as we all know, a photograph only shows you what the person behind the camera wants you to see. It never shows you what's left out of the frame. When we look closer at what was happening outside that frame, the image starts to crack. While the children were busy curating their high-end lifestyles and displaying their wealth for the world to admire, their mother, Eleanor, was living in a world they seemed to have completely forgotten. Eleanor should have been the honored pillar of this family. She was the one who had worked 2 jobs to put them through those elite universities. She was the one who had sacrificed her own youth and her own comforts to ensure they never had to want for anything. Yet, as they reached the pinnacle of their success, Eleanor found herself living with the bare minimum. Not just the minimum in terms of material things, though her small, drafty apartment and her empty refrigerator were a far cry from her children's mansions. The real deprivation was deeper. It was an emotional desert. The contrast between the visual brilliance of her children as Instagram lives and the crushing silence of Eleanor as reality was staggering. They had plenty of money for luxury travel, but apparently no money for a train ticket to visit her. They had time to post 3 times a day, but no time to pick up the phone and hear her voice. The glare of their digital success had seemingly blinded them to the reality of the woman who gave them life. It is at this point that the story takes a turn that no one expected. For a long time, Eleanor lived in the shadows of their success, waiting for the phone to ring, hoping for a visit that never came, and making excuses for them in her own mind. She played the part of the proud mother to her few remaining friends, even as her heart was breaking from the neglect. But something inside her shifted. Perhaps it was a missed birthday, or perhaps it was seeing a photo of them at a lavish party while she ate a solitary meal of toast and tea. Whatever the catalyst, Eleanor reached a point of profound clarity. She looked at her children and realized they weren't waiting for her to be part of their lives. They were simply waiting for her to pass away so they could claim the one thing she had left, the family estate, a valuable piece of land that had been in her family for generations. Eleanor decided right then that she would no longer resign herself to the role of the forgotten victim. She decided to act, and her decision would send a shockwave through the very foundation of their perfect lives. The discovery that followed is a powerful, stinging lesson for a generation that has forgotten its roots. Eleanor realized that her children's perfect life was built on a foundation of lies and superficiality. They were rich in appearances, but bankrupt in character. So she decided to settle the bill. Without a word to her children, she put the family estate on the market. She sold the land, the house, and every antique heirloom they had already mentally divvied up among themselves. But she didn't use that money to move into a luxury condo. Instead, Eleanor took every single penny of that multi-million-dollar sale and donated it to a charity that provides housing and companionship for abandoned seniors. This shocking turn of events didn't just expose the shallow nature of her children's relationships. It confronted them with a reality they weren't prepared to handle. They were left with their image of success, the photos of the yachts, the designer clothes, and the fake smiles, but the actual wealth, the heritage they felt entitled to, was gone. They were left holding a digital mask with nothing behind it. The invoice for their years of neglect had finally arrived, and the price was the loss of a material inheritance they didn't deserve and the permanent severance of a family bond they had already allowed to wither away. Eleanor's final act wasn't out of spite. It was a loud, clear cry for dignity. It was a reminder that you cannot ignore the person who built you and expect to inherit the house they built. She chose to invest in a world that actually values the elderly rather than the children who only valued her death. This story forces us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves some very uncomfortable questions. What truly matters in our family relationships? Has the glitter of social media become so bright that it has completely erased our ability to see the needs of the people closest to us? We spend so much time building a life for the world to see, but are we neglecting the foundation of care and connection that actually holds a family together? I want to hear your perspective on this. Have you seen the Instagram life destroy a real family connection? Do you think Eleanor was right to do what she did? Or did she go too far? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have an honest conversation about the impact of superficiality on our families today. And if this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that the most valuable things in life can't be captured in a photo. They are grown in the quiet moments of care, presence, and respect.